Alrighty, folks, it is time for round 2 of Grand Prix Kaina City. This round, we're up against Caillou 102 on Jeskai Dragon Battle, a merging of the very successful Jeskai Battle Control deck from last month, and some of the emerging Dragon Control decks leaning on Iviana Dragon Tamer, and some of the new Adventure Dragons out of Solitaire in the sideboard to build a sort of toolbox win condition package built into a control deck. This is going to be a very tough matchup for us to navigate. We'll go over our opponent's deck in just a moment, but if you are interested in checking out for the format for yourself and haven't done so already, links in the description below are to all of your key resources for everything Revolution Custom Standard, most importantly, the Custom Magic Discord server, where you can check out projects people are working on and join the Revolution channels, play the format for yourself. So, Jeskai Battle Control did really well last month and got a light slap on the wrist in terms of the Path of Scales nerf. When defeated, it no longer allows you to copy battle spells, but that's honestly not that impactful of a nerf. This is still 4 mana to draw 3 cards, and if you can point some burn damage at it, this passively reduces all creatures' power, except for your own, by 1. So if they get to damage this at all, our 1/1s and our 1/3s just can't damage them. That's going to make this a very difficult matchup on its own. But that's not the only problem we have to contend with, because they're also on 3 copies of Eltanon the Silent Star. So obviously, Eltanon, we've kind of built our deck where Eltanon doesn't hurt us too much, and in that way, we do get some benefit of having Eltanon in our deck, because, you know, we've built around having it available to us. It's not going to hinder us all the time. But the problem with that is, we're not really going to be wanting to pull the trigger on, say, Eltanon X's 4 when we have Survivors of the New World in play, which is one of the few creatures we really want to have die rather than get exiled. Our opponent has an easy check to Survivors in Eltanon. So while Survivors is really good against Deafening Clarion and really good against Nightfall, not so good against Path of Stillness. So that is going to give us some real trouble. Otherwise, all of the usual suspects from last month, some of the usual suspects of last month, rather. There's 2 copies of Clash at Orith Cross for more board wipes, and this can be some Inevitability Engine. Offset Daemon to push some damage to us, gain them some life, can chip away at their battles as well, and can be a recursive threat, so can be annoying to deal with. Playset of Ukius Crusaris, so they can chip off our creatures. Given the nature of our creatures, I really don't expect they will be using Crusaris on our creatures almost ever. I suspect this is mostly going to be used to chip away their battles if they have to. Electronic countermeasures, pretty much the same story, though I could see them maybe needing to use this on a creature in a pinch. But mostly just here to defeat their battles. The biggest challenge of this matchup is there's a lot of blue control decks in this field, and in the process of bracing myself for a Nightfall-dominated field, I neglected to prepare myself for the blue matchups. There's a lot of blue control decks in this field, so we're going to be kind of pushed to see how well we can navigate through counterspells without any real ways to weave in between them. So they're on a playset of Overrule Thoughts and 3 Unravel Thoughts. So not only do they get a Quench that can mill them for a few cards, you know, if they mill over an Offset Daemon, then a future one will have Daemon already in the graveyard for their overflows. They've also got the Unravel Thoughts, so if we have more cards in hand than them, they get to just have a cost-reduced Cryptic command, which is really bad for us. They've also got 4 copies of Seafloor Treasures, so that Mill on Overrule Thought has more value beyond just Offset Daemon. This is really their card selection of choice at instant speed. And then 2 copies of Thistral Charm to counter non-creature permanent spells. Fortunately, not a super relevant effect here. Deal 3 damage to creatures or battles. A little more relevant because this can chip away at their clashes and their Path of Scales. Or create a token that's a copy of target token you control, which has some niche uses as well. Can copy up the Overflow token from Offset Daemon, can copy up, the Clash at Orith Cross Soldier tokens. Not a whole lot else, though. Then otherwise, there's 3 copies of Iviana Dragon Tamer. We'll go over her a little bit more in a moment, but she is going to be one of the primary win conditions of the deck, as well as another little removal engine. And then 1 copy of Stargazing for some additional card selection, as well as helping you dig really deep if you can have a defeated Path of Scales in play. Now, let's talk about that Iviana a little bit more. She gives your dragons Ward 2 and Haste innately. She can uptick to deal 2 plus the number of twice the number of dragons you control damage to a creature or planeswalker. So with 1 dragon in play, she deals 4 damage to a creature or planeswalker. With none, she deals 2. And that can pick away pretty much anything that is a threat to her, provided there's a dragon already on the board. But you don't really need that. The most important line of text on Iviana are the passive and the -2. -2 can reveal a dragon from outside the game, put it into their hand, and make 2 treasure tokens. And they've got 6 creatures in their sideboard, 4 dragons they can search up. They've got 3 legendary dragons and 1 non-legendary. Let's talk about the non-legendary first. That is Draconos Magistus, an 8 mana 6/8 flying uncounterable dragon with Path of Prudence, a 1 blue instant, can't be countered, counterspell. So this is just a cancel with a little bit of a bonus. If they play Iviana on 6 mana or more, they can downtick and go get Draconos Magistus as a face-up counterspell that they can use their 1 remaining mana for, plus the treasures off of Iviana. And that's going to be true of also Asulio, the Watchful Star, who is one of the legendary dragons from Solitaire, 10 mana, 10/10. When you cast the spell, reveal up to 2 non-creature cards you own from outside the game, put them into your hand. So this can go find them some of their non-creature sideboard cards, so they only have 9, and it's really only three ofs. Otherwise, it's mostly just there for being a 10 mana 10/10, and really mostly there as a negate you can get out of the sideboard with Iviana and use the treasures on. So Iviana gets Asulio, the Watchful Star, tees up Path of Humility, so you have that on hand if a removal spell were to be pointed at Iviana. The last Solitaire dragon is the 4th copy of Eltanon the Silent Star. So not only do they have 3 copies of Eltanon in the main, they get functionally, I'm going to say 3 additional copies of Eltanon in the form of 3 Ivianas they can draw to go find Eltanon from their sideboard in a pinch. And that can even, in token matchups be used. Iviana -2, go get Eltanon, immediately crack the treasures for white, fire off Eltanon for X0, clear all tokens. Realistically, they're probably not going to fire off Eltanon immediately in most cases when they get it off of Iviana, but this can be a way for them to get Eltanon when they feel they need it. And then the last dragon overall is the really scary one. Garation the Stormlord has been in the format for almost a year now and has not seen a ton of play, but Iviana plus the Solitaire Dragons are starting to allow it to finally creep into relevance. He's a 7 mana 6/6 flying legendary dragon, of course. When he enters, if he was cast, you may cast a dragon spell or a spell with mana value 6 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. And then once during each of your turns, when you spend less mana to cast a spell than its mana value, you may have Garation deal damage to up to 1 target creature equal to the difference. So, this is kind of Flame Tongue Kavu on, steroids. Much more costly than a Flame Tongue Kavu, but if you consider Iviana on 5, bank the treasures, you do not need a land drop to hit 7 mana the following turn for Garation the Stormlord. And if, just hypothetically, you don't need to downtick Iviana again to get a dragon, of which there are 3 in the main, into your hand, then you could chain Garation the Stormlord into Eltanon the Silent Star, deal 10 damage to any blocker that you're worried about, such as, say, an opposing 10/10 Legendary Dragon Spirit, silence the opponents until your next turn, and then Iviana gives them haste, so you can swing for 16 immediately. So, that's gonna be really debilitating if and when we ever run into it. If we had hand attack, that would be the thing we really want or need hand attack for. Unfortunately, we're not in black. We're in green-white. So we're going to have to be really conscientious with where we point our removal spells. And we might have to really prioritize beating our opponent down over actually trying to fight for value. Otherwise, they're on 25 lands here, 6 basics across 3 islands, 2 plains, 1 mountain. They're on 3 Lucent Basins, 4 Misty Peaks, and 4 Wind-Beaten Stones. They're on 3 Primal Fissure and 3 Silent Lakefront as their fetch lands. Silent Lakefront getting to artificially boost their counterspell count from 7 up to 10 in the main 60. And then 2 Rousing Path as additional fast lands that can have some utility being cycled later on in the game. As far as the rest of their sideboard, normally we would go into that in between games, but frankly, I don't think this is a deck that needs to sideboard against us, so we'll just talk about it now. Crucible of the Burning Sun is primarily going to be useful for them against Graveyard Matters strategies, of which we are not one. Jetstream Cruiser is their anti-control tool of choice, which is not necessary against us. They just have better control tools against us. Deafening Clarion is their anti-aggro card. They have wisely selected to put this in the sideboard rather than the main, and sure enough, the field is rather light on decks that get hurt by Deafening Clarion, and we were built specifically to prey on decks leaning on Clarion in the main. So that's going to be pretty unfortunate for us. And then 3 Terminal Impact, or the one thing I could maybe see getting boarded in place of maybe like Clash at Orith Cross, just because the way the game's going to likely run is going to be with the game stalling out pretty hard if I can't push enough immediate damage, at which point Terminal Impact can just be a clean way to kill me over the top after pushing damage with their flyers and their adventure creatures as needed. And so that is Jeskai Dragon Battle. I will be entirely honest, folks. I do not know how I'm going to win this one, but I'm going to do my damnedest to make it happen. So let's jump right into the games. All right, we're in here on game 1. I won the die roll with a 5 to a 4. Oh, lordy. Yeah, that is not a hand I can keep. We're going to mull. But 3 Survivors Dorisha session. It's a rough first hand. Oh, goodness gracious, this is not much better. In theory, 1 land lets me take this to 3 lands rather reliably. Because I get to go Primal Fissure, turn 1 Root Fossil, turn 2... if I find... The fact that I'm on the play means I think I can't risk that. I can't risk the 1-lander. Alright. Eulogist Minister, Survivors, Fossil, Conviviplex. I think I am cool dropping Eulogist Survivors here. We're going to go turn 1 Root Fossil, turn 2 Dawnward Minister, I think. And then we can play Conviviplex on 3, level up the... Or, sorry, pop the Root Fossil there. I think I gotta keep this, yeah. Keep 5. We're going to move to the bottom of our library. We're going to move this to the bottom of our library. We're getting rid of Helia Eulogist here because the 3 toughness does not matter that much in this matchup, and we don't have a way to put our life total above the baseline here. So we could just lead on the Conviviplex, go into Minister, into Root Fossil, sack it. That does weave us through a turn 2 Quench on their end. I think I do like that. Let's go ahead and go for that. We're in a bit of a squeeze, bit of a pinch. The really unfortunate thing about Conviviplex in this matchup is they have got 6 different 2-mana deal 3s. So we are probably never leveling this up. They lead on a Lucent Basin, tapped. Not too surprising there. I was about to say not too shocking, but that would be true. It is actively not shocking. We draw the 1 of Forest, so we do have a way to surface the Root Fossil as needed. We can kind of just hold on to this for if and when we find a green card. and otherwise just make our planes progress. Minister gets to replace itself, find a second root fossil, and we will pass. Alrighty. Opponent presumably not going to burn a removal spell on Dawnward Minister. They may hold up a counter spell here to try and pick off something. And we know they do have a full play set of quenches, so Overrule Thought. Unravel Thoughts is the 3-drop. Overrule Thought gonna be a little hard to hit my root fossils here. So we will draw for turn. That is a Laystone of Being. Not something I'm looking to rush into play here. I could go Laystone of Being, root fossil. That is a real option I have, because next turn I can go Forest, crack both root fossils at my opponent's end step, and get some serious card selection. But I think I do just value playing the plains, playing the root fossil, seeing if they want to respond. They say, yep, I'll go to combat, I'll swing in. So the one thing that they could have done with Unravel Thoughts there, or Overrule Thought, I keep doing this. Overrule Thought, Unravel Thoughts. The one thing they could have done with Overrule Thought there is take me off of the Root Fossil activation, but then I would have just taken that as clearance to play Root Fossil Laystone of Being. I think as it stands, we're just going to pass here. They're probably going to pop their Primal Fissure here. I would not be surprised to see them just untap and draw, keep the Fissure uncracked. One of the things that's really nice about Primal Fissure and about the, get the basic land into play untapped fetches is you do not need to pull the trigger on them right away. So if you're looking to draw more lands, you can get away with that pretty comfortably. I will say the advantage of opponent not being on Deft Deflection here is that they cannot stop the Root Fossil ability. Deft Deflection would allow them to interact with this where Unravel Thought couldn't. Overrule Thought, I keep doing it, where Overrule Thought couldn't. All right, so we're going to Surveil 3. Opponent says, yeah. Let's take a look. Land, please. That's a Lackey Fae Observatory, Warpway Rings, Survivors of the New World. So we're going to bin Warpway Rings. We will just put in the graveyard. Lackey Fae Observatory, we're going to put here. Can we take our next draw being Survivors of the New World? Is that okay? I don't know. This is tough because this is not as good against them as just about any other matchup in the field. This is the deck that kind of does not care about survivors. We could at least eat up a counterspell with this, but then we're kind of just spending our turn 4 doing nothing. I think we gotta bin survivors. Here. That hurts. That really hurts there. But this gets us closer to Root Fossil. This means we're not just drawing a 4-drop that gets countered immediately. We untap with 4 lands. We get to draw here, find a Moonbeam Artisan. That's really nice. So we can search up a second Laystone. I think I'm more interested in trying to stick the current Laystone and Root Fossil here. Because if we go Root Fossil number 2, Laystone, and then we play Forest, we hold up Lackey Fae Observatory activation. That can put us to a little bit more pressure on board. It's not a lot, but it's a little bit more. All right, we're going to play the Forest. We're going to lead on a Laystone of Being. See what the opponent has to say about this. They say, okay. We're going to go to combat. Swing in for 1. They just take it. Second Root Fossil. They say, yup. And we're going to pass and gain 1. They may pull the trigger on a 3-mana spell here. They may do something. We will see. The problem here is that they're just not under a lot of fire, so they don't have to be too concerned. And this is really the problem with this particular matchup. We just do not have anything that really lights a fire under their ass to really incentivize our opponents to start actively taking game actions. They can kind of just sit back, draw cards, make land drops, and then wait for something they actually care about. Because as it stands, Minister is a 20-turn clock. That is not looking particularly frightening. I'm going to continue operating under the assumption I'm going to be playing into Lackey Observatory, get Survivors of the New World here. With the exception being, this would be the exception. No, it is not what I thought it would be. Okay. Offset Daemon's interesting. So if this was Path of Scales, I was going to be pressed to pull the trigger on Root Fossil, Sack, dig for, and hope to find specifically one of the Welkin Evictions. They're going to swing in for 3. And this is the other problem. Like, Offset Daemon just means that our progress is completely nullified here. I think we just gotta use Lackey Observatory, because this is how we offset the damage from Offset Daemon. So this is how we offset the life gain from Offset Daemon. They're on C for the Overflow token. We untap, we draw, we find a Plains. I mean, the temptation is so real to just pull the trigger on level up stack Conviviplex. It's the wrong move. Is the play Moonbeam Artisan get a 3rd Root Fossil? That's interesting. So we play Moonbeam Artisan, we play Root Fossil. Because, like, the alternative is we just, like, get Laystone of Being, cycle it now, make a 1/1. That doesn't matter in the slightest. Oh, opponent was confused as to how we made the token. Yeah. All right, yeah, I think it is going to be go get Root Fossil, actually. So we're going to go ahead and play the Plains. We're going to play Moonbeam Artisan. We're going to go get Root Fossil over Laystone of Being here. And just cast a 2nd Root Fossil. Jam for 2. Take them down to 19. We gain 1 from Laystone of Being, but it's not going to be a whole lot of meaningful stuff going for now. Offset Daemon pressuring our life total makes a potential... oh, God. Card names. Potential Helia Eulogist draw a lot more awkward. Windbeaten Stones. Are they shocking that in? That seems kind of scary if they are. That's a bad sign if they are. They're thinking about it. They are going to do it. Uh-oh, is that Iviana? That sounds like Iviana. That smells like Iviana. It could be them pulling the trigger on a Clash at Orith Cross. Just to get that in play. That would also be pretty rough for us because we lose all the pressure we have on board, but that also means that we can... Oh, they're just going to pass. Okay. We would like to sacrifice Root Fossil. Assuming that is going to be good. 3 lands. Well, we're going to bin Plains, Hopeful Soul Space. Get the Soul Space. Now the question becomes, do we pull the trigger on the other Root Fossil on upkeep? That's a solid maybe. I think it's going to be a yes, actually. We have nothing else going on. Upkeep. Pop the other Root Fossil. They say, yep. Top 3. Lackey Observatory, Primal Fisher, Survivors of the New World. Let's bin them all, get the second observatory. You're going to bin survivors, Fisher, observatory, observatory tapped. Draw a Dawnward Minister. All right. Before we do anything, we're going to go to combat and just try and chip in for 5. See if they are cool with all of that. The nice thing about Moonbeam Artisan here is that it does kind of bring Offset Daemon to parity. They should be at... I believe they should be at A. They're going to pull the trigger on Ukius Chrysaris here. Yeah, so they're going to clear Moonbeam Artisan. Yeah, they're going to use this to track A, B, and C, 1, 2, and 3. They get to gain 3 here. And then take 2. So they're going to go to 21 here. Yeah, this is just a really spectacularly bad matchup. So they gain 3. They're attaching that. Hit them for 2. Main 2. 1, 2, 3. Attempt to surface. See if they have anything they want to say about that. They say, yeah, okay. That's not concerning at all. So let's go ahead and clone that. Move that to exile. Set annotation to token, because it is one. And we might as well just pull the trigger on Dawnward Minister. If this gets countered, it gets countered. Just eats a counterspell then. They say K. We will draw a card and gain 2. You will just awkward when we're lower on life than the opponent. You will gain 1 at end step. You will just can at least pad our life total a little bit, but this is not going well. We at least have more pressure on board right now. No, we don't. Our opponent chips us for 3, we gain 1. We chip them for 5, they gain 3. So we're both just hitting each other for 2 back and forth right now, and they have the lead on that. They're playing Rousing Path tapped. Interesting. All right, then. I mean, hey, I'll take it. It's one less card they're digging into. Tentative plan with this next turn is, after combat, look at surfacing one of the 2 root fossils. I'm not going to pull the trigger on both. They deal 3, gain 3. We're at 16. They are going to pay 5. Is this Iviana? This is a Clash at Orith cross. Okay. So they do have Overflow teed up to be ready here. But we are clear to pull the trigger on root fossils. We will untap. We will draw Rejuvenation Session. Not the best thing to find here. And of course, Overflow is going to get back that Offset Daemon. Lakithe Observatory, just the wrong observatory for this particular situation. We'd rather be in mono black for Karaz Observatory, but unfortunately, not where we're at. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Leaves us with 2 mana. I think it's just going to be play out the Helia Eulogist for the life gain. We could hold this for if we draw a Laystone of Being, I guess. I think that's probably just more responsible. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're just going to kick these off into exile here. So they get back the offset daemon. And then in 3 turns, they'll do that again. And this just got so much worse. Clash of Earth Cross, they could start chipping away at this instead to get this to start chipping out soldier tokens. They are going to do that. Reborn Lily's good. They don't have reach. I think the only thing that would make me more happy about this card was if it had reach. With 3 Reborn Lilies developed, though, I think we are clear to start using Lakite Observatory to make spirit tokens next turn cycle. They're going to be paying 2. What are you paying 2 for? What's happening here? 3? Oh, is this just... Are they just going to Unravel Thoughts bounce a Reborn Lily to kill it? No, they're going to do Elton on X's 1. Yup, that's pretty rough. And yeah, no, Elton on much better against me in this context comparative to my opponent. Number of cards in this matchup just really not relevant in the slightest. And the big challenge is I don't know if you could really pivot to like an aggro plan. I don't think aggro really stands much of a chance against this deck. So I'm not quite sure what you are supposed to do about this matchup. We untap, we draw an Elton on of our own. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Best we can do is just pull trigger on Elton on X's 7, and if they've got the counterspell, they've got the counterspell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry, X is 5. They've got the counterspell. I am so sure about it. We're 1 mana shy, and we can't let them just keep the Clash at Orth Cross going. Oh, they're actually going for it. Okay, cool. That is surprising to me. Not what I was expecting. Oop, not the right token I should have on an adventure here instead. There we are. So interesting. We're now at parity in terms of, like, nothing going on. But they have 7 mana. They need 1 more to play Ukius Crusaris. Stargazing. Okay, so they can't play Ukius Crusaris this turn. But, I mean, come on. It's gonna happen. So they put, they scry to the bottom, they draw a card. They're presumably going to discard to keep Stargazing around, because this is just 1 mana, dig a little deeper, replace a card in your hand. This is such a good one-of. Like, you really don't care about having multiples, because you can't play multiples anyways. Thistral Charm gets discarded, not surprising there to me. They're going to pay an island. Wait, look at the top one. They put another card into their hand. Oh, are they trying to cast Stargazing again? We're going to pause real quick while I call a judge. Alrighty, it's all dealt with. Card was successfully returned back to library. Opponent had to shuffle and make sure that the bottom card of the library was still where it was, because they did the first one as scry to the bottom. And they have played nothing else on their turn, which is a little concerning here. We know they have a Stargazing in hand, though, so that's 1 of 4 cards known. We will untap. We will draw a Synod of Sanctions. The fact that I'm currently in a position where I'm looking at this 3 mana 2/2 and going, you know, it's a 13-turn clock. Oh, lordy. That's not a good sign. Well, I am not in a position to feel safe using Stack Convoplex as a creature, so we are going to continue to just do the thing we can. That is going to be Synod of Sanctions. They say, yep. I'm going to take a pretty risky gambit here. I'm going to see if they will let me. Rejuvenation session. Probably not. I have to assume not. Yeah. Taps Rousing Path, taps Lucent Basin. Oh, they're going to Ucuse Crusaris, so the highest mana value among my permanents is 0. I see. Heard. Yeah, that's rough. That's really rough. Goodness gracious. Oh boy. Yeah, this is going bad. Well, that's our 5th card in graveyard for Lackey Observatory. We can do 1 activation here, 2 in next 2 turns. And then we can spend 2 mana on other things. They're going to lead on Stargazing here. Yeah, this is not getting any better. The one upside is that we have to make our opponent kill us. That's going to happen soon. It's going to happen very soon. They're just going to put Stargazing in the graveyard. Interesting. Only a little terrifying. That tells me they like all 4 of the cards in their library. Oh, that's Path of Scales. Yup. So you know how I literally just said the nice thing about this is that the opponent still has to kill us? No, they don't. No, they most certainly do not. There's the 2nd Rousing Path. They can't cycle those anymore, but I don't think they care about that. We're going to try to activate Lackey Observatory, eat a Synod of Sanctions. We untap. We draw another Helia Eulogist. Both of these are useless right now. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well. Hustle right on in. They don't really have to care. I'm just going to keep these batch selected so I can pull the trigger on both of them at once. But yeah, this is a really bad position here. So they can just burn this with one of the 2 remaining Ucuse Crusarises or one of the, I think, 2 remaining Thistral Charms? No, there's 1 remaining Thistral Charm. So they're halfway through. They're halfway through their lightning strikes, quote unquote. Oh god, I just realized something really horrifying, which is that do they have any? No, they only have planeswalkers, instant sorceries, creatures, battles. Okay, I was gonna say like they could. Okay, they're going to Seafloor Treasures here. That's pretty rough for me. I can't stop it. Party just wants to be like, do you see Blue Buddy? What do you mean, K? I can't counter that. You're looking for a different opponent to do something about that. Oh, that's always a good sign when they choose not to keep the counterspell. Granted, Overrule Thought taxing me for 2 when I'm on 8 lands, not that important. And the worst part of all of this is that they just get to go Ucuse Crusaris here. They don't need to defeat Path of Scales. They can just stick a 7/9. And there's naught we can do about it. Because if we were to, say, make 2 more tokens, swing in with all 3 of them, they get to block 1, kill another, and then offset the damage that the 3rd deals to them. And they don't even really have to try. I'm genuinely sitting here considering using Hopeful Soul Space. Because that's where we're at. They're just going to pass. We untap. We draw a Welkin Eviction. That's not too shabby, but it is something we're going to have to be very precise about. Alrighty. We go to combat. Jam in with 3. They don't even need to clear their Path of Scales. They can just take the 3. They're going to countermeasures, target their Path of Scales. We have to try the Welcome Eviction here. Yup. Unravel thoughts. Here's what I'm going to do. That's it. That's done. We're done. I stuck that out way longer than I needed to. Eltonon's out of there. Darisha in. Psyhawks in. Onomastics in. Fateful Ascents maybe. Sanctum of Repression maybe. So yeah, definitely Darisha in, Psyhawks in, Onomastics in. We just want to get more relevant creatures into the deck, I think. We can name Path of Stillness, so Onomastic just doesn't work anymore. Or sorry, so that Eltonon doesn't work anymore against us. We can... Looming Psyhawk shuts off the tokens off of their Offset Daemon. That is just about it, though. Otherwise, it like stops Clash at Orithcross. It's really just getting boarded in. Because I'd like something I can do on their turn to kind of put them under the gun a little bit. And this is helps us pad our life total a little bit more. Helia Eulogist seems like the next closest thing to dead weight, but I'll be honest, I'm thinking about cutting Survivors of the New World as well. And that is a weird thing to be saying, considering it was one of the primary reasons I'm in green. They just don't care about this thing. Let's say we board in the Sanctum of Repressions. So Fateful Ascent only meaningfully interacts with Iviana and their like gigantic creatures where by the time these are coming down, we probably can't interact with them anyways. Yeah, I don't think Fateful Ascent's the play. I think we do want the Sanctum of Repressions. I think we need to cut the Synod of Sanctions. I think we cut that before we cut Survivors. This is just such a blank piece of text against them. This is just a we would be playing this as just a 3-mana 2/2, and yeah, no, I don't care for that against them. All right, let's not roll to 5 again. All right, that is a hand that does not have to mold a 5. Perfect. Literally what I asked for. Problem with Onomastic. Well, so Survivors is going to be awkward because if we don't find a green source, this is just going to stare at us. Problem with Onomastic is that we have to be really careful with what we name, because if we name a board wipe, they can just use targeted removal. If we name targeted removal, they can just use a board wipe. It may be correct to name Path of Exoneration. But that just leaves us open to getting got with Thistral Charm, Countermeasures, Eltonon X2, Clash at Orithcross. That leads to us getting got by swing in, they play Crusaris into it, make a 2/2 blocker. Like, there are so many things that go wrong for us there. I think we need to hold on to Onomastic and run it out later. Love to hear our opponent thinking, because that means that it might not be a great hand. They're just debating if they want to risk going to 6. That makes me think this is a risky hand, where it's like shy of being worth keeping. They are going to mulligan. Okay. That's a good sign. We're going to need a lot more signs like that. If our opponent could just find like a bunch of 7 landers, we might have a shot. Nope. They're keeping 6. Alrighty. Main 1, Observatory. Play the Root Fossil. And pass. We sure do love mono white ramp. I could play Onomastic, name Overrule Thought, disable their counter spells, but that feels bad. That feels really bad there. They're going to just play a Silent Lakefront, go get a basic, and then pass. Presumably going to be a Plains. Yeah, there we go. That's not scary at all. We will untap. We will draw. That is a Hopeful Soul Space. Well, I would rather that be like one card deeper so our Root Fossil could flip into it. As it stands, though, that is going to be able to cast Survivors eventually. Let's go ahead and play that Plains. And we're just going to pass here, not really mess around with things on our turn. They play Shocked In, Misty Peak. Let's go ahead and crack the Root Fossil. They say, yep. Alrighty, that is a Dawnward Minister. I think we go ahead and bin a Plains, bin a stack Conviviplex, keep one on top. Conviviplex to play. We untap. We draw Dawnward Minister. The awful part of this is just, what the hell do we name off of Onomastic? I think it might genuinely be... It might genuinely be just that we name Path of Exoneration. The worst part of this is also, if we play a Plains to go Onomastic, hold up mana to pay for Overrule Thought, or chain into Dawnward Minister, then we can't play Survivors next turn. It was really rough. But I think we got to go for it. We're going to go for Plains. 1, 2. Onomastic. We will pay the 2 if they give us the option. They say K. Set annotation. Path of Exoneration. Unicorn. Helix in parentheses. Just triple checking. Exoneration. Let's get that counterspell. They say K. Oh, that's not scary at all. That's another Survivors with no green source to cast them. Thistral Charm? Seafloor Treasures, I see. Interesting. It's possible they didn't have an Overrule Thought. It's possible that the 4 2-mana counterspells they have were not in the top 9 cards of their library. Hello, my name is Captain Obvious. It's certainly a possibility, but I just have to be prepared for it if I can be, because I think if I just blindly charge into it, that is how I lose games. They've been an Overrule Thought, it looks like. No, they've been to Clash at Orith Cross. Okay. I don't know why I saw an Overrule Thought when I, glanced at the chat. Admittedly, I was tabbing back in. I'm going to play a Windbeaten Stones tapped. So now here's the fun part where I go ahead and draw Primal Fissure. Yeah. Oh, there's a temptation to just run this out, go get the basic forest so that way I can not risk drawing it. Oh, man, the best part of all of this. I get to swing in with Onomastic Dawnward Minister. They get to play Path of Exoneration and just trade with the Onomastic. I deny them the 3 life gain. I deny them getting to tuck away the Ucus Crusaris. The alternative is that they just eat the Dawnward Minister and take 2. I think I'm gonna pretend I'm fine with that. I'm gonna pretend. They just take it. Okay. Primal Fissure tapped. Pass on over. I have no earthly idea what's in their hand. This is really bad. I'll be honest, I don't know why I'm sweating this, because I knew where this was going. And it certainly looks like it's still heading in that direction. We will untap, crack the Primal Fissure on upkeep, go get the basic forest. We will draw for turn. That is a Laystone of Being. Let's go ahead and develop a Plains. Move on into combat. They just don't really have to care about us taking them to 12. Like, they can just take this. So if they have Unravel Thoughts, they could counter this. If they have Overrule, they cannot. So they say, yep. Eltanon does stop this, but they are turn off of Eltanon stopping it. Set annotation to token. We're just going to hold the Laystone for now, because I feel like at this point, our best bet with this is to chain it with like double Laystone, big life gain burst, if we can find a way to gain a burst of life gain. To gain a burst of life. Words are failing me, because this is not a great position to be in. We know they binned one Clash at Orith Cross. It's possible that that's because they have a second. If that's the case, we're in really bad... we're in really in a bad spot. That's 5 mana. That's a second Clash at Orith Cross. That's Iviana. Interesting. Oh, no. So -2 gets a dragon. That sounds like Curation, smells like Curation. They, I think, are holding an Eltanon. Either that or they're getting... Yeah, that's a Curation. Okay, yeah. I was going to say, they could be getting an Eltanon for next turn. Nope. That's a Curation. I need to kill Iviana here. And the worst of this is that I need to not just send 2 damage at Iviana. We draw Warpway Rings. Perfect. Exactly what I needed here. Okay, so if they have Path of Exoneration, they can make a 2/2 blocker protect Iviana, so I need to send 3 damage to Iviana across 3 1/1s. That is going to be, I think, the Survivor's tokens plus Minister plus Onomastic. Sorry, Survivor tokens going to Iviana, Minister, and Onomastic going to face. The worst of this all is we could put them to 6. We could absolutely put them to 6. We could put them to 4 with Conviviplex. But then they can go Curation plus Jam Eltanon, take us to... Wait a minute. Hang on a second. Is that fine? Do I not care if they pull the trigger on that? Curation kills virtualized Onomastic. I lose 1 point. I lose 2 points of damage. Realistically, they probably kill stack Conviviplex in that case. And then they're at 4. And if they swing in with both, I think I have to go face. This is a very unusual position to be. I think, in the interest of doing this in probably the most responsible way possible, I'm going to ship everything at face, jam the second survivors, pass. And I think if opponent goes for Duration, I'm going to cycle the Laystone of Being, see if I can't muster up top deck Welkin Eviction, because that'd be 5 planes plus Laystone of Being. Warpway Rings can even get the 6th planes anyways. Yeah. I think we have to jam all at face. I think we have to do this. We have to ignore Iviana. They can crack us for 16, but that's not going to be lethal. They say K. Moment of truth. When they go to cast Duration, I will cycle Laystone of Being. I will crack Warpway Rings and then cycle Laystone of Being, because I want to thin out the number of basics in my library to minimize chance of drawing a land. Oh, I'm a little nervous here. We might actually take a game off of them. I was feeling real pessimistic, but we might have a real series on our hands. Now, of course, if they just rip Elton on X's 4, things are a lot worse for us. And assuming they have an Elton on in hand, this is probably what's happening. This is probably what's going to be coming down here. Opponent is thinking. So we know they've got Duration. We know they have enough mana for Duration. If they play land for turn, they can have 1 more mana. They can... Okay, so scenario here, they Duration Eltonon, swing in, then they downtick Iviana, make 2 treasures. We can't cast spells on our turn. We would have 7 damage left on the board. We level up Stack and Viviplex up to 9 damage. We lose in the face of them having Ukius Crusaris in hand for Path of Exoneration on Stack and Viviplex, because at that point we're sending in 7 to their 9. So we need them to not have Ukius Crusaris in hand. We need a Virtualized Onomastic to have been a dead card this game. We need this to have just been a bear. They're going to downtick Iviana again. Uh-oh. They're going to get Elton on to hand. Yikes. That's not a good sign. So that does tell me they did not have Elton on in hand originally. So they can burn 4 treasures, pay 2, fire off Path of Exoneration. Or sorry, not Path of Exoneration, Path of Stillness. Oh no, they have a second Iviana. Uh-oh. So now, oh, this is so much worse. Now, they get to get a 3rd dragon from their sideboard. They have 6 treasures. And they get to go crack those 6 treasures, Elton on Path of Stillness X's 4, clear my board, and they have an Iviana left over. This is hell. Yep, Draconis Magistus, that makes sense. Rough. Very rough. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I'm going to say in response. Crack the Warpway Rings. Go get the planes tapped. We're going to pay 1, cycle Laystone of Being, draw a card. Cool. Useless. Yep. To exile with all of them. That's bad. That's very bad. The one sliver of hope here. Nope. I was gonna say, the one sliver of hope is that they haven't made a land drop this turn, which makes me think they might not have a land in hand. But no, they have one. They were just waiting to do it after everything else. Cool. This is awful. We untap. We draw another root fossil. So we can pay 3, animate, stack, and Viviplex. Pay 1, play root fossil. I think we got to kill the Eviana now. It was a cute line at the time. We are no longer in a position of being able to go for that. So we're going to go ahead and put a level counter here. Nudge Viviplex up to the front. Kill Eviana. Main 2. Soul Space tapped. Root Fossil. Pass. The Hope. They could have Ukius Crusaris. They could have Thistral Charm. 6. No, they have more than 6. Yep, that's land 7. That's Curation. All right, well, that's gonna be pretty much GG's because they get to kill Stack and Viviplex here. There was a number of things that could go wrong here. Yep, they kill Stack and Viviplex with whatever spell they cast here. Yep, they cast Eltonon. Cool, 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 cool. That's awful. Well, we don't take 16 right away. Pop the root fossil. Top 3. We're just going to bin them all. Get rid of these. Get rid of this plains. We're going to put it into play because we might as well. We untap. We draw the 4th root fossil. Where the hell is Welcome Eviction when you need it? Yup. We pass. We can hold up a Lacufe Observatory activation. We can use Hopeful Soul Space for the first time, potentially in history. Yep, we take 16. Watch them have land drop terminal impact after all of this. They pass. We're going to go ahead and make another one of these. They say, yep. And then we have exactly enough mana. 1, 2, 3, 4. Soul Space activation. World first. Probably not actually, but it is very funny to me that that is just flavor text to me. And God, where were you? Where were you all this time? Okay, we have enough mana to go for double root fossil here. I mean, yeah, we got to keep it on top. We got to keep it on top and just hope. We untap. We draw. Root fossil, surface. I think we need to go to combat and then shove 1 point of damage here. Main 2. I think we do need to Welcome Eviction before we second root fossil here. No, we don't. Because we're not going to... no, we need to. Because that's how we kill them next turn. That's how we tee up lethal, rather. Ugh. And the worst part of this is that, like, I'm just going to go for it. I'm not going to beat around the bush. If they have a counterspell, then this is over anyways. I could try and do this on their turn, get tricky with it. It doesn't matter. Yep. That's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, wait, well, I don't know why I was confused. They had Draconis Magistus. They revealed it. Yep, we got a little close there. Closer than I thought we could in this matchup, but unsurprisingly, we are 0-2 against Battle Control. We just gotta pray that we don't run into them again, and that the Battle Control decks all somehow suffer terrible accidents in the next 2 rounds, because they're both undefeated, to my knowledge. Or, not even both. I think I'm pretty sure there's more than 2, but at least Caillou and Chip are both undefeated. So, yeah, can they maybe lose the next 2 rounds so we don't have to fight them in Top Cut, please? We'll cross our fingers. And that's going to bring this match to a close. Not sure how the future rounds will look, but we are now on the chopping block. Lose 1 more round, and then that is going to be it for our run here at Grand Prix Kaina City. So if you enjoyed this match, stay tuned. Round 3 should be coming up soon. We are towards the end of the current round window as of this recording, so it should not be long. And look forward to seeing where things go with our future rounds. And as always, if you want to check out the format for yourself, links in the description below, all the usual stuff. And until next round, I'll see y'all in the GP chat. Bye-bye!